Hi there, this is Tony Poulos and I'm at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. Today I've assembled a group of people to help me understand more about combating messaging scam and frauds. Now of course we know that mobile network operators are facing a growing challenge in combating messaging scams and a pervasive threat that deceives and exploits unsuspecting users and consequently degrades the customer experience. Here we have brought together experts to discuss the scam challenges and how to secure them and to protect themselves as operators. I'd like to introduce to you firstly William Ignacio, who's the Director of the Security Program Delivery and Strategy at Globe Telecom in the Philippines. Welcome.
Thank you.
Next to him I've got Garrett Silao, who is the Vice President of Security Operations Centre at Globe Telecom as well. Welcome.
Thank you.
Then we have Blago Gjorgjievski, who is the Vice President of Network and Wholesale at Telenet. Welcome, Blago.
Thank you, thank you.
And last but certainly not least, we've got Ilia Abramov, who is the Vice President and General Manager of Messaging and Security Products at Mavenir.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, welcome. I'm going to kick off with you, Ilia, because this is a subject that you're involved with across the board with a number of operators. But firstly, what impact has the rise of messaging scams had on MNOs and their subscribers?
Well, you're completely correct. We have observed the rise of the nuisance communication worldwide, everywhere, impacting mobile operator services. Messaging scam has been quite a big issue, quite a big problem. When an operator has a lot of messaging scam in the network, then effectively the brand, the operator brand, is impacted. It's losing trust with the consumers, and quite often affects also the revenue, because operators making quite a lot of revenue with A2P messaging, for example. And when consumers are receiving a lot of scam, then they cannot trust the fully legitimate messages that are distributed by the official A2P channels.
William, are you finding this in your operation? That's exactly what's happening? That you're getting the blame if the scams are getting through?
Yes, that's exactly what's happening in our country as well, because since we are providing the services, our customers are really blaming the telco companies that, when they receive a phishing message, their expectation is that the telco company should be blocking those messages.
Makes it a bit difficult. What are some of the evolving tactics that are being employed by these scam perpetrators and their exploitation of various messaging channels? Can you shed some light on that for me, Garrett?
Yeah, a lot of those attacks have evolved over time. Like we have seen the scams for phishing campaigns. It used to be just email, then we're moving to SMS phishing. A lot of the scams from recruiters, that was initially we thought it was regional, but this was a global problem. And aside from that, although like we battled things of the scammers, they have evolved outside of the control of the mobile network operators. We can block the SMS, we block URLs from being transferred via SMS. Now they move to OTT. They move to WhatsApp, they move to Viber, as such. So the tactics evolve, but we also need to evolve our partnership with our vendors, the regulators as well, to combat the spam attacks holistically.
Well, talking about the regulators, I might come back to Blago here and ask him, what are the challenges faced by regulators and of course the MNOs in identifying, blocking and preventing messaging scams? Surely they're involved, they have to be involved now.
The regulators, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, they are. And I can share a Belgian example, maybe that's a very, very concrete example. A few years ago, right after Corona, we had a discussion with our local regulator about those problems. And I share everything which was said till now. The problems are related to the privacy, for example, what you can and what you are allowed to do as operator, so to protect your end customer. That's an issue. That's a legal discussion that we already also had in Belgium on how we can protect our customer without entering into the privacy discussion and to be fully proven. Operators have, I think, are a little bit ahead of the regulators. We have a regular forum, discussion forum in Belgium, in which the three MNOs are discussing with the regulator and some other experts in this domain. What I see as the biggest challenge for the future is the fact that technology is evolving rapidly, and I think the perpetrators are much faster than the regulator, and somewhat faster than us as well. I think, as we just said before this discussion, they also have a little bit more time than us to prepare their campaign. And very interesting detail, we also spotted from the content, we have global players, global perpetrators, and they use the local identity in a very, very convinced way. And we as an MNO and we as Telenet, we always say we want to be partner in life for life. I'm linking to the previous discussion. We are perceived by our customers trusted party. So everything that comes from the mobile network, from the fixed network is a call or message. It's a trusted information for our customer, and we want to lift up to that challenge.
Are there other initiatives that you at Globe are doing to combat spam besides technology deployment? Things like SMS and firewalls?
Yes, so deploying technology is very important. But of course, we need to cover the non-technical side, which is basically protecting our customers. Right now, we wanted to ensure that we safeguard the trust of our customers in our digital solutions. And the way for us to do that is really doing security awareness, user education. Because right now, even the old ones, the elderly, they can be blamed for not understanding the technology. If somebody sends a phishing link, sometimes they do click it. And sometimes there are instructions that they do follow. And the funny thing is they really follow the instructions that they need to go to this website, you need to click this, you need to give in your personal information. And as a operator, of course, we need to ensure that we protect our customers from every way possible. So aside from that, we also work with government sector. We need to ensure, of course, that we have this kind of process on where we can immediately address those threat actors once we find them doing this kind of attacks. And lastly, we have some works with the private sector as well. Like we partnered with the major banks in the Philippines and have that threat intelligence sharing so that we can immediately address any fraud-related attacks that they were able to report to our company.
That's a very powerful tool, being able to work with the financial institutions in the country. I don't know, I got a bit upset when you looked at me and mentioned about the elderly getting caught with phishing, but I'll let that slip by.
Well, if I may add to that.
Yes.
There were a number of researchers done by MNOs, and what has been identified that people who are most loyal to the operator as a brand, they are exposed to phishing attacks more often, and their phones could be affected by malware much more often than the ones that tend to change from operator to an operator. That's why actually importance of your loyal customer base protection becomes more and more important.
Absolutely true, and I can just iterate on that. In Belgian case, the regulator advised the three operators to implement a solution which you provide, and one of the networks decided not to. And guess what? Today's situation is that 90% of the scam is coming from that network. We have proof points, and we truly believe in this. What you just said, our customers, our especially loyal customers, they really expect us also to protect, not only to connect. That's very important.
Well, Garrett, I'm coming back to you. How often are your spam filtering technologies and tactics updated to adapt to evolve the spamming techniques? Is it a constant chasing of the
as soon as
scams?
Possible?
Yeah.
I mean, we do monitor the attacks regularly. Way before, we used to have scheduled updates of campaign filters. But right now, as attack evolves, we look at the behavioral patterns of these threat actors as well. You can see that, yeah, you can't be dependent just on the technology, because a threat actor will try to test your technology, will try to find that workaround. These are human actors and not just AI.
Yep.
So they can try to punch through your filters, send one message at a time to see what goes through, then do the blast. So every time we see that pattern, we update our filters or do other filters accordingly, or even work with our partners if the current technology could not immediately handle blocking the tactic.
Speaking of partners, are your partners informing you of potential scams that they've discovered with other companies they work with?
Yep.
So you do have
so
a
that's
network
the
of...
threat intel, not just from technology partners, but also from the banking partners that we have. We have like real-time chats with our banking partners or retail partners, so we can protect our customers not just on the scam types, but also on phishing domains that are being used to impersonate.
And where they're coming from, where the threats are coming from?
Yep.
Are you able to do that as well?
Yep.
The regions and particular URLs or
Yep.
IP addresses?
URLs, domains. So we block that. So, of course, like what William said earlier, a lot of like the non-techie subscribers would not know a fish bank URL.
Ilia, what role do you see the next generation of solutions playing in combating messaging scams? This is what you're heavily involved with, I know, and safeguarding user privacy and protecting M&O revenue streams. They all seem to go together, don't they?
That all seem to go together. You're totally right. Important, actually, it's a nice segue in the future of attacks that we are going to observe. And here I wanted to bring in actually the threat and importance of artificial, so the whole topic of MWC is artificial intelligence and machine learning. And especially in this area, what we already see that attackers are starting to utilize machine learning and artificial intelligence. Public availability of the tooling such as ChatGPT enables them to craft very complicated attacks. And the biggest advantage of fraudsters is that they never fall under regulation, they have no limitations in compute resource, they have effectively no mental limits to do anything. While we, as an industry, have to deal with that. So we have to come with the next generations of the systems that are capable to deal with AI-crafted attacks, and at the same time preserve consumer privacy, because you cannot virtually expose every single message into a cloud of a vendor who you do not know is going to do with that information, right? So therefore, what Mavenir is trying to do, our systems are already today leveraging machine learning and artificial intelligence, but we are improving it even going forward to make sure that we can withstand these kind of attacks that are crafted using publicly available artificial intelligence tooling like ChatGPT, for example.
Will it be a dramatic difference using AI and machine learning?
Well,
Will it
in
make a big difference?
fact, it's a natural evolution of our current solution. The platform is already ready for that. The problem that we need to crack is exactly the one that you have mentioned. We have to deal with the privacy factor. Once the privacy problem is resolved, then I believe we can get to a nice evolution of the platform and really next generation of the solution.
And of course, the perpetrators of scams are also utilizing AI. We're
Of
starting
course.
to find out.
Yes, exactly.
Which adds to the challenge.
Exactly, that's the challenge. That's always cat and mouse game that we are in.
And I'd like to add to that, even the threat actors, unfortunately, are better at collaborating versus the security community.
Yeah.
So, you know how fast they can create their campaigns. Even malware, nation-state malwares have been open to the non-nation-state attackers. So, they are better actually in collaborating.
Well, maybe to add to that then, I think what's important to think of this whole area, we are the ones who meant to protect consumers. And therefore the word partnership is becoming more and more important, where we don't want to be a vendor anymore. We want to be a partner. We want to help you to fix the problem and make sure that we as a vendor, you as a service provider, you can align with that strategy.
And I have to really, because you mentioned the key word partnership, for me that's a crucial one. And I think we should recognize as well, probably you would recognize, I hope, But the number of parties that should participate in this partnership is also growing because of technology and because of who is delivering, who is controlling the next generation of messaging. It's not only the MNO and, let's say, Mavenir, we have also cloud providers who are also taking a big part of messaging as business, and they should also carry a big part of responsibility as well.
Exactly, especially when we are talking about the traditional messaging threats that we see on SMS moving right now into the over the tops. We have not seen them actually reacting properly to this threat. And I think right now they are partner in crime with us to make sure that they can protect the consumer.
No, we do have interactions as Telenet, and I cannot say that they are just sitting behind and not. They do, but I just want to emphasize on that we are the really important part of this partnership, and that's becoming multi-party, and we have to become community that collaborates as effective way as the other side.
Well, I think we've covered most of the topic on this particular panel. William, I'd like to thank you, Garrett, Blago and Ilia for being with me today, and I hope our viewers have picked up a little bit more information on how to prevent messaging scams. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.